Hello, I'm Jennifer Callender. I'm one of the co-founders of the J3 Collaboration Project, and we have a segment, Minorities in Franchising. And I'm honored to be here with Ruth Agbaji, who
Yes.
is the CEO and founder of Code Wiz. Ruth, welcome to the segment.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so let's dive right in, Ruth. So let's start off by introducing people to Code Wiz. What exactly is Code Wiz?
Okay. Code Wiz is an after school program for kids ages 7 through 17. And very simply put, we help kids unlock their inner geniuses through coding and robotics. So we offer a variety of classes and camps to kids who are interested in technology, and we help them to learn basic coding courses all the way up to advanced coding and robotics courses. So that's kind of the gist of what we do.
Thank you. So you're in the STEM
Yes.
industry. Okay,
Yes.
wonderful.
Very
So
much.
what got you into STEM and to form Code Wiz?
Yeah, so my background is in electrical engineering. I did grow up in a STEM household. My parents have their PhDs in chemistry and biochemistry, so kind of always, headed in that direction. My undergrad degree is in electrical engineering. I did grow up in Nigeria, and long story short, just for time's sake, while I was getting my undergraduate degree, I really wanted to do something that I was proud of and something that learned a skill that I thought would be able to help me get a scholarship in the US. So I started to teach myself how to code.
Mhm.
So I taught myself how to code. I built an application that was functional, 98% functional. And I used that to apply to a whole bunch of schools around the world, and I was able to get a scholarship in the US. So I came to the US, I came to Tufts University, I got my master's in computer science from Tufts. And after graduating, I went on to work as a software engineer. But, I was feeling very unfulfilled. I wasn't feeling heard where I was, I wasn't feeling seen. And so I've always been very entrepreneurial. And when it got to a point where I was just tired of the corporate world, I decided that I was just going to start my own business. And because I had taught myself how to code, I had seen the power of learning how to code. Like it literally changed my life. So I wanted to pay that forward. So that's why I decided to start a coding for kids business. And that's how Code was born.
Wow, there's a lot in there to unpack. So, so you taught you're self-taught coder.
Yes.
And I have a strong appreciation for that because my background is software programming. And I
Ah,
could not imagine teaching myself how to code. So
it,
you went on to teach yourself how to code and you developed an application that you created and you were able to leverage that for scholarship applications and what have you.
yeah,
Now,
yeah.
did you
See,
have any family in the United States?
no, no. When I came here, I was the first person in my extended family to come to the U.S. So no, I was a complete stranger here when I came. But I
Wow.
just knew that the U.S. had a lot more opportunities for me. I remember in my final year of college when I was still trying to apply, I would put a picture of New York right by my pillow, and I'd be like,
Everybody goes gravitates to New York.
yeah, so I just knew that I think I've always felt that I could be more and that I could do more. And given the right environment, I would be able to fulfill my purpose. I always felt that really strongly. And so I think that was the driving force for me. And then in addition, I was trying to escape the bad situation, the insecurity in Nigeria. So that combined with me feeling deep down that I had a bigger purpose than I was currently living was really what drove me to success and get through all of the challenges that I faced while trying to teach myself how to code.
Great. And then so you embarked upon a corporate career first before starting your business.
Yeah.
And so share a little bit more about that. You said that you were unfulfilled there.
Yeah. So when I was at Tufts, I tend to be a very goal oriented person, and so when I was at Tufts, I had set my sights on one of the big tech companies. I wanted to work for Facebook or Amazon, Microsoft, or Google. So
Hmm.
I applied all over. Again, classic strategy: apply all over and see which one would take you. But I actually didn't quite get into Microsoft until after a year post graduation. So I did a couple other jobs, but I was hyper focused on that. And I thought that that was the purpose that I had, to work in a big tech company and I would feel really fulfilled. I would feel like I had arrived, so to speak. So after starting in that organization, Microsoft is a massive organization. At that time, there were like probably over 100,000 people that worked in there. And
Hmm.
it's very difficult to make your mark when there's so many other people. And so that was my biggest challenge. Like, one of my biggest challenges, I really wanted to make a mark. I really wanted to have an impact on the community. And the projects that I was working on just really didn't give me that. So I really wasn't fulfilled in that sense. I felt like I was spending 8 hours a day just working for somebody, you're promoting somebody else's agenda, if you
That's
will.
right.
Yeah, and if that agenda was something that made the world a better place, I could get behind it, but it really didn't. So I felt
Hmm.
unfulfilled in that way. I have a lot of ideas, and my ideas would never go past my manager. And so I also felt unfulfilled in that way. And I was growing my family at the same time, and my commute was horrendous, and flexibility was not a thing at that time. So all of that put together, I just felt like I needed to make a change.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's so many people that sit in that unfulfilled space for a long period of time
Mm.
and just not know how to navigate out of it. I think I wanted you to share that because I think that that's such an important element to kind of having people understand the fact that being in that unfulfilled space, there is a path forward from there. No
Yeah,
matter, it doesn't have to be business ownership, but
yeah,
there's an avenue out of being in that unfulfilled space in corporate. I'm an
yeah,
example, you're an example. So yeah, thank
yeah.
you for sharing that.
Sure, sure.
So, and so you were unfulfilled in corporate, and now you're moving forward to okay, finding out what that thing is that you want to do.
Hmm.
So what did that exploration, what did that look like?
So I think the first thing, that I did right looking back now was first of all determining why I was feeling unfulfilled and really getting to the root of that versus just jumping around from one place to another hoping a different job would get me what I wanted. And so really honing in on the why and what I felt I was called to do and what really speaks to my soul was very important. And so once I narrowed that down, that I wanted to, one, be in a space where I could have my ideas heard, I could try my ideas and see if they worked. That was one thing that was important to me. Impact was also important to me.
Mhm.
Giving back and making people's lives better was also important to me. And then a third thing was also making space for underdogs was also very important to me because far too often I saw, myself and people like me just, being put aside for opportunities because, we had an accent or we looked different or because of our gender. And that was something that I didn't appreciate at all. And so I really wanted, those are three things that were important to me. And so when it came down to it to decide what I wanted to do, I knew that if I started a business, I'd be able to try all the ideas in the world, and see if they worked or didn't work. If I started a business, I could decide to do something that was impactful and not depend on my company to care about social impact. And I could create a space for people like me, again, just underdogs, women, immigrants, people of color, all of that, to be who they are and to shine. And so all of
Mhm.
that kind of put together, I started to look into starting a business. And then I stumbled across franchising because my husband suggested it. So there's no big story there. But I looked into franchising, and that's why I started to see various types of businesses. And then I didn't quite go into franchising at first. I decided that I would just start my own Code Wiz because I'm a true entrepreneur. So started Code Wiz, and then down the line became a franchise. But yes, I was able to now hit on those three things that were important to me. I am trying all my ideas. Not all of them are great. It's usually one out of 99. I am able to have an impact on kids and their families. I'm able to pay forward. Part of my story is that while I was learning to code, somebody helped me when I was stuck, and he didn't have to, but he did. And so I'm able to pay that forward and make an impact on people's lives that way. And now I'm able to create a space for the underdogs and the women and the immigrants and all the people that have been discarded, really.
I love that. I love a true underdog coming up and winning, right?
Yeah.
So now, did you start CodeWiz while you were still working in corporate, or had you transitioned out?
So I had transitioned out. I got to a point where I was completely frustrated. I had just had my little boy, and so I was on maternity leave, and I was like, huh, I just couldn't bear the thought of going back to work. I just couldn't. And so I was like, you know what? Nobody's gonna be mad at me. Nobody's gonna blame me. I just had a little boy, so you know what? I'm not coming back. I'm just not. And then after a couple of months, I was like, okay, I'm bored. I really need to decide what I want to do with my life. So
That's
that's
right.
how that happened.
Okay, got you. So now you've started CodeWiz not as a franchise, but as an independent business.
Yeah.
So okay, so you got to talk to me about that. That stint. How long were you an independent business? How what did it take for you to transition into the franchise industry, and what did that look like for you?
Okay. So I got bored, and then I said I was going to start Code Wiz. And so between deciding that I wanted to do it, getting the bank loan, all of that, it was like a really short period of time. I think I'm a firm believer in being decisive. If you want to do something, just go after it. You're either right or you're wrong, right? One way or the other. But there's a really interesting saying, and I don't know who said this, the highway, maybe not the highway, but roads are paved with squirrels who couldn't make up their minds. Like a car was
Mm,
coming, and then the squirrel was like going, going back and forth, and then couldn't decide where they wanted to go, and then they got smushed. So just
mm,
be decisive,
mhm.
be decisive, choose one path, and so
That's
that was what
right.
I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this, and I got started to learn a lot of lessons, about business ownership. And then 3 months into starting the business, my son was diagnosed to be on the spectrum. So that changed everything in our lives. For him, he was really young at that time, and they had told us that if we put in a lot of effort, he'd be able to live a normal life. So we had
Mhm,
to hyper focus on that. And so with
mm,
that happening, I knew that there was no way that I would be able to grow to 5 locations, which was my original goal. 5 locations corporately. So
mhm.
um, because I'd explored the world of franchising before I started Code Wiz, I was like, man, I don't want to give up on this goal. So what do I do? What do I do? I know, I'll franchise. So that's kind of how,
And
that's
how you got there.
fell into the world of franchising. It's been a wild ride, but I love it because now I am not just impacting the kids and the families in my community, but now it has the potential to be global. And you're
That's right.
not just impacting kids and families, but there's all these other business owners that are who didn't think they could do it, but now seeing me and our success now believe that they can do it as well. And so my vision of impacting kids and empowering the underdog, all of that is not just on a small scale now, but it's really on a much larger scale. So our franchise organization, all our franchisees, we have I think it's 50% women right now, and it is I want to say 60% African Americans. So it's
Wow.
really awesome. Yeah, there's all these people who have similar stories to me where they had to fight to get to where they are today, and now they see this opportunity to be able to empower other kids who are just like them. So it's really awesome. It's I see franchising as a impact multiplier.
That's a great perspective on it, for sure. And I think your underdog um, driver is coming to fruition now through what you're doing, and I'm so proud of you. Now,
Thank you.
how many franchisees do you have
So right
currently?
now we have 15 franchisees. It'll likely be 16 by the end of today, and 25 territories between them.
Great. And so, what are some of the territories that you have?
So we have five in Massachusetts. We have a location in Georgia. We're looking to expand in Georgia. Most of our
Mhm.
franchises are in Texas, which is interesting. And then we have one lone wolf in California. So we're also looking to grow in California as well. Oh, and Indiana.
Okay,
I forgot
in
Indiana.
Indiana. Okay.
Yeah.
And so, so what's on the trajectory for Code Wiz now?
Oh
So,
man.
do you feel like you've gotten some momentum and everything is kind of ticking and tying and you're just rolling along? So now, trajectory 3 to 5 years, what does that look like?
Yeah, so I love milestones. I like thinking in milestones. So the first
Mhm.
milestone was get that first franchisee, and then get 10, and the next big goal is 50, which the goal is for that to happen next year. We'll see how that goes. But
Awesome.
yeah, we really want to go at it. But I do want to say though that we want to grow responsibly. We want to
Yeah.
make sure that we can support the current franchisees. So if at any point our current franchisees are suffering because we're growing, then we're gonna pause it. So our
Mhm.
current franchisees are always our top priority. Helping them to grow their business, helping them to be profitable is our top priority. But if we have put systems in place to make sure that they are successful, and we trust that those systems work, we see them work. So having all of that in place, we are hoping to grow to 50 franchisees in a year, and then to grow to 100 between now and 2025. I know, big goals.
Big goals. So, and what does that ideal franchisee, that ideal candidate, what does that look like?
So the ideal candidate for us is someone who is somewhat entrepreneurial. You're entrepreneurial, you have ideas, and you've always wanted to have your own business, but you are willing to collaborate with others, and you are willing to be coached by others. There are some entrepreneurs that are true mavericks. They it's very difficult to hear no, and for those kind of people, franchising might not be the best place for you. But if you have ideas but really want a foundation to build on, then we those are the kind of people that we're looking for. Being collaborative is very important because we're building a family, a true family. Everybody is very invested in each other's success. We're looking for people who, for them, impact is part of their ROI. So, yes, we are a
Mhm.
profitable business, but when you see a child smile, that's part of that's part of your ROI. So that's
Mhm.
something else that we're looking for. We're looking for people that are performance and goal oriented. We share our numbers with each other across the system because we encourage what we call competition, cooperative competition. You don't have to have a tech background to be successful as a franchisee because your job is to work on the business, not in the business. We're looking for people who have a desire to have more than one location. You can
Mhm.
have one location to start, but you have that desire to grow to two, three locations. Those are the top traits for our ideal franchisee.
Great. And then, so you experienced that whole transition from corporate and knowing that that takes time to kind of figure out what your next trajectory looks like. Is this a owner operator model or is this semi absentee? Talk to me about that.
So we offer three models. We
Okay.
offer an owner operator model. So if you're just like me, you're done and you just want to move on and do something else, we have that model available. If you would rather transition, keep your job and then transition to full-time business ownership over time, or if you really love your job but you want to have a side hustle, you can be a semi-absentee owner. So what that means is you will hire a center director who would manage the business on a day-to-day basis, but then you would manage the manager and you would really do a lot of the community marketing that's involved in growing the business. And then the middle model, which we call our mom model, for lack of a better name, we need to come up with something better, but it's for it came about as a result of a lot of moms asking us, wanting to do this but not being able to be at the center in the evenings. So they want to
Gotcha.
be owner operators, but they don't want to spend all their evenings in the center because they have kiddos at home. So in that model, you as the franchisee would be putting in 40 hours a week, but then you would have an assistant who would help you with the classes. So the assistant would be there to keep the peace, make sure the kids are doing what they're supposed to do, but you would still be the face of your business. You would be the one having conversations with parents over email, responding to inquiries, all of that.
Gotcha. So you have some options within this.
Yes, yes,
And
there are.
so what does the staffing look like?
So the staffing, we to start out, folks need about 3 to 5 coaches. We call them coaches to start. We typically hire from colleges, so it's important to have a college close to your territory. And so colleges and then high school students. So high school seniors or high school juniors. Those are the folks that we typically hire. And center directors, typically people who are ex-teachers or ex-managers in other businesses make for great center directors.
Got it.
Yeah.
Now let's pivot a little bit and talk about the money.
All
So
right.
how much does it cost to own a Code Wiz?
So it's actually not that much money as compared to
Mhm.
many other franchises. The franchise fee is $40,000, but in total, it's the total investment ranges from trying to make sure I give the accurate number, ranges from about $120,000 to $190,000. And that
Okay.
includes everything that you need to set up your space, to buy the equipment, and working capital.
So all in investment, those are
All,
the numbers.
yes.
And um, are there any incentives, like veterans or
Yes.
minorities?
So we have a veteran one that we've been talking about an incentive on minorities. So we don't have that right now, but we probably would have one next year. But for
Mhm.
veterans, we have a first of all, we love our veterans. We have a 10% off discount from off of the franchise fee. We have two veterans in our system right now, and they're the
Nice,
absolute best. Yeah.
nice. And what are the royalties?
The royalties is just 6% royalties, and then we have a 2% brand fund.
Okay, perfect, perfect. And now, is there anything else that you would like to share that maybe I didn't touch on?
Um, No, I think we touched on everything that's super important. I think maybe the one thing I would say is that, CodeWiz is I see CodeWiz as a movement that will change the world. We are developing the next generation that will, next generation of coders, next generation of problem solvers that will change the world. And it's just wonderful to be part of, to have created such an organization. And we're really looking for people who would join us as part of this movement to change the world.
Great, great, great. And how does Code Wiz stay abreast? I mean, technology is always changing. So
Yeah.
how does Code Wiz stay abreast of the latest trend in technology, metaverse, all of that?
Gosh, yes, there's so much out there. So one of the things that we try to do is go to the conferences, so industry conferences. There's a lot of ed tech conferences that we try to be at, so that we're hearing what is new and what is hot in that industry. But believe it or not, a great source of information is the kids themselves. They
I can
tell
believe it. I can
they
believe
tell
it.
you what they're interested in, what they're talking about with their friends, and what's hot, and all of that. And so just having a listening ear to our customers has really been impactful for us, because we're able to move quickly, because they tell us what they want, and when we create it, the market is already there because they told us that was what they wanted.
Got it. Got
Yeah.
it. Well, thank you so much, Ruth. This has been a pleasure talking with you and speaking with you, and I wish you nothing but success in reaching that milestone 50 and then 100 franchisees in the near future. If
Yes.
you want to know anything more about CodeWiz, reach out to me, Jennifer Callender. I am a certified franchise consultant. I'd be able to share the information with you and get you in touch with Ruth. Thank you again, Ruth.
Thank you.
All the
Bye.
best.
Thank you.